Welcome back to the playoff edition of our betting show. I am joined by Gabe Ibrahim, who is not Debbie Antonelli, but still has some wisdom for you. Dallas Wings versus Chicago Sky tonight at 8 o'clock, followed by Mercury versus Liberty at 10 o'clock, both on ESPN2. So let's get into it, Gabe. Chicago favored by 5 at PointsBet. Who are you taking in the first game against the spread?
Give me the Wings to cover, but the Sky to win. I think this is going to be one of those games where there's a lot of nerves. Both these teams have a lot on the line. Dallas in their first playoff experience, want to get a good one in. Chicago trying to overcome the failures of the past. I think they're going to be both a little nervous. That's going to lead to a tight game down the stretch with Chicago coming out ahead, but Dallas covering the 5 points.
All right, I'm going to disagree with you. I'm going with Chicago -5. I think they're going to get back to their identity as a running team. Dallas is going to try to keep up with them. We talked yesterday on our podcast about, how that could work with Arike and Marina Mabrey, some of these players, who can finish at the rim, but I think that's going to lead to a lot of turnovers. So I am going with Chicago to cover the 5-point spread. The over-under is at 167. Gabe, over or under in this game?
So you can tell I'm not Debbie Antonelli because I am taking the under. These two teams, like I mentioned, it's going to be a lot of nerves in this game, a lot of missed shots, and like you mentioned, a lot of turnovers. And that could lead to easy points, but it could also just lead to some sloppy basketball. And I think these teams are going to go under. Their season averages total out to about 164 points per game. So I think they're going to come in under that 167 mark.
Well, I usually take unders, but I'm going to take the role of Debbie here and take the over in this one. Both teams are rested. Rested teams this year have played at a faster pace. Like I said, I think this one is going to be at a fast pace. Dallas has hit a lot of unders down the stretch, but I think this one is going over 167. I think Chicago is going to make a lot of shots, so I am taking the over in this one. Gabe, let's pick Phoenix versus New York tonight, the second game on the slate. Phoenix is favored by 9.5 at PointsBet Sportsbook. Who are you taking against the spread?
It's tough because the New York Liberty have a chance in this one. I don't want to make it seem like they don't have a chance, but I'm going with Phoenix to cover that 9.5 points. It's just too much Brittney Griner. She has dominated the two matchups against the New York Liberty, and they really don't have a great center option there. Shouts to Natasha Howard, but that's not the matchup that New York wants, and I think Phoenix will be able to exploit it. I also think Skylar Diggins-Smith plays really, really angry against this team. So give me Phoenix.
Well, Skylar does have a little beef with Jasmine Jones, so she definitely could come out with a chip. I'm going with Phoenix as well. The reason you said Brittney Griner, I think Diana Taurasi will play. She's questionable right now. And I didn't mention this stat with the Chicago game, but favorites since the WNBA moved to this new format, excluding last year when no one had home court. Home favorites in this round are 7-1 against the spread, which is why I'm taking another reason why I'm taking Chicago. And I'm also taking Phoenix for the same reason, Phoenix -9.5. So let's get to the over-under, 165 at PointsBet. Are we going over or under with this, Gabe?
So this is somewhat wishful thinking. I want to see a good basketball game, and I think a good basketball game here involves New York playing good offense. It's the only way they're really going to stay in this one, considering the defensive deficiencies. So I'm taking the over just so we can get a good game in here.
I'm also going with the over. Like you said, New York is going to have to make threes if they're going to stay in this game. I think they make just enough, not enough to cover, but just enough to stay in it for at least 3 quarters. And again, like I mentioned, I think Diana Taurasi is going to play in this game. She's great for overs, as we know. She's going to make some buckets, and Brittney Griner is going to feast on the inside. So I'm going over 165 as well. We're going to break down some WNBA championship futures. Let's run them down real quick. Connecticut Sun are at +180. They are the favorites at PointsBet Sportsbook. Las Vegas is at +220. Storm 400. Lynx 750. Mercury 900. Sky 2000. Wings 8,000, and rounding it out is the Liberty at +10,000. Gabe, which of these odds do you see having the most value?
Well, I'm picking Minnesota here +750. I know they're your finals pick here to make it there and lose to the Sun. I also have the Connecticut Sun winning, but I think those odds are really strong for a team who has been one of the best in the WNBA, arguably a second best team in the WNBA since the Olympic break. They have Cheryl Reeve, they have Ariel Powers, they have Kayla McBride, they have Sylvia Fowles. They have players who know how to win in the playoffs, and they have a franchise that knows how to win in the playoffs. So I think that line is very juicy if you're trying to find some value on this list.
I do like the +750. I'm on the Lynx bandwagon as well. I think they have a shot to upset the Aces in the semis. But I'm actually going with the two favorites. I don't usually like that with futures bets, but in this case, You look at the Sun and you look at the Aces. Historically, since the WNBA moved to this playoff format, every number 1 and 2 seed except for one out of 10, 9 and 1 have made the finals.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the Sun and the Aces are also just at another level, especially the Sun right now. Getting plus odds, being able to over double your money on both of them, I still think is a good bet right now. Plus 180, plus 220. I think those numbers will come down as we get into the semifinals. So I would bet on either one of those at the moment.